My name is Anna Miller. I'm 37 years old, and I live in Stuttgart, Germany. Before everything changed, my life was as ordinary and imperfect as any. I was an elementary school teacher, a mother of two beautiful, stubborn children, Emma, who was 11, and Leon, who had just turned 8. My husband, Marcus, was an engineer, and together we juggled work, family, and the endless tide of laundry and bills that is modern life. We lived in a modest apartment on the outskirts of the city, not far from the forest. Every morning, I would wake up before dawn, slipping quietly out of bed so I wouldn't disturb Marcus or the kids, and brew coffee as I watched the sun rise over the rooftops. There was a strange comfort in that routine, the predictability of it, the safety in knowing what tomorrow would bring. But under the surface, I was restless. I tried to be a good wife, a patient mother, and a dedicated teacher, but sometimes at night when the house was quiet and my thoughts grew loud, I wondered if there was more to life than this constant struggle. Had I missed some hidden purpose? Was I making a difference? I would watch my children sleep and feel an ache, a mixture of love, fear, and uncertainty about the world they would inherit. I grew up Catholic, but as I got older, my faith became more like a set of rituals than a living, breathing relationship with God. I went to church, said my prayers, but it often felt like I was just going through the motions. Questions haunted me. Is there truly something after this life? Does God hear me? Do my choices matter in the grand scheme of things? Or am I just one more tiny soul lost in the crowd? If you have ever felt lost or questioned the deeper meaning behind your daily routine, please let me know in the comments. What are your biggest doubts or fears about life and what comes after? Your story might help someone else feel less alone. The days moved in a blur. School runs, lesson plans, cooking, emails, homework, rushing from one responsibility to the next. I often found myself sitting in traffic, staring at the rain streaking down my windshield, and feeling an invisible weight pressing on my chest. My life was full of activity, but something was missing. I felt a kind of emptiness I couldn't explain to anyone, not even to Marcus. There were nights when I lay awake in the dark, staring at the ceiling, feeling the silence settle around me like a heavy blanket. That's when the questions came, quietly at first, then louder. Was I enough? Was I really living, or just existing? Sometimes I envied people who seemed so sure of their faith, who talked about God as if he was just waiting for them to listen. For me, prayer was often just pleading for help. Help with my children, help with my work, help with my worries. I wanted to believe in something more, in a love that was bigger than my fears, but I didn't know how. One Sunday during Mass, I watched an old woman light a candle and whisper a prayer. Her eyes glistened with tears, but her face was peaceful. I longed for that kind of faith, the kind that could survive heartbreak and doubt. I started to wonder if maybe my longing was, in itself, a kind of prayer, a silent hope that somewhere, someone was listening. Do you ever feel like your doubts are too big, or that your prayers are too small? If you've ever felt that way, write "I understand" in the comments. Share your thoughts and let's support each other. Your words matter more than you think, and you never know who you might touch. It was an ordinary Thursday, a gray, damp morning in February. I remember feeling tired as I drove Emma and Leon to school, the kind of tiredness that runs deeper than sleep. After dropping them off, I had just enough time to grab a coffee before heading to work. My mind raced through my to-do list, barely noticing the world outside my window. As I reached a busy intersection, the light turned green. I checked the rearview mirror, lost in thought, and slowly pressed the accelerator. In a split second, everything shattered. A truck, skidding out of control on the wet road, slammed into the side of my car with a force that seemed to fold time itself. Metal screamed, glass burst, and my world exploded into chaos. They say your life flashes before your eyes. For me, it was different. There was no movie reel, no dramatic montage, just a sudden crushing silence, like I had fallen into a void where nothing existed. No pain, no fear, no sense of time. My last conscious thought was of Emma and Leon, their faces flickering in my mind like a prayer I couldn't finish. In those final moments, I felt a strange surrender. I let go, not because I wanted to, but because I had no choice. My body was broken, but my heart was filled with a desperate, silent plea. Please, let my children be okay. Please, let them know I love them. If you've ever had a moment where everything changed in an instant, or if you've experienced a close call that made you rethink your life, please share your story in the comments. What was your turning point? Your testimony could be exactly what someone else needs to read right now. In that suspended moment between impact and oblivion, time dissolved. There was no pain, just an overwhelming stillness, a silence that seemed to stretch forever. I was aware of my body, but it was as if I was floating above it, watching from a distance as people ran to help, their voices muffled, their movements slow and blurred, like a scene underwater. Colors became surreal, soft, almost glowing at the edges. I felt a gentle warmth spreading through me, soothing, wrapping me in comfort unlike anything I had ever known. My worries, my fears, all the little stresses that had filled my mind minutes before, faded into nothingness. There was only peace. I remember the sensation of being pulled gently upward, like a soft current carrying me away. I could see my own body crumpled in the wreckage below, but I didn't feel afraid. Instead, I felt curiosity, even relief, as if a weight I'd carried all my life had finally been lifted. And then came the light. It wasn't harsh or blinding, but soft and inviting, a glow that radiated love and understanding. I felt seen, completely and utterly known, as if every secret and sorrow had already been forgiven. Have you ever had an experience where you felt disconnected from your body, or witnessed something you couldn't explain? Please share your story in the comments. What did you feel? Did it change the way you see life or death? Your words might give hope to someone else searching for answers right now. Drifting upward, I became weightless, a presence without boundaries. I hovered above the crash scene, seeing everything at once yet feeling strangely detached from fear or pain. The world below looked different, as if I was seeing it through new eyes. Colors were sharper, sounds echoed softly, and time seemed to stretch and contract in mysterious ways. I could see the paramedics rushing, hear their anxious voices, and even sense their intentions, an urgent hope, a silent prayer for me. But I wasn't scared. All my anxiety and earthly worries melted away, replaced by a profound sense of belonging, as if I was returning to a home I'd forgotten. An indescribable peace filled every part of me. I wasn't just free from pain, I was free from doubt, guilt, and all the burdens I'd carried for years. It was as if my soul was being bathed in warmth and understanding. Suddenly, I realized I wasn't alone. There was a presence near me, a comforting energy, powerful yet gentle. I couldn't see a face, but I felt a love so immense it brought me to tears. It was as if I was being held and reassured, wordlessly, that everything had a purpose. Have you ever felt a presence you couldn't explain, or experienced a peace that felt supernatural? Tell us about it in the comments. Do you believe we are watched over or guided by something greater? Sharing your experience might be the light someone else needs today. In that place beyond fear, I became aware of a figure drawing near, a presence both powerful and impossibly gentle. The light grew warmer, and then, suddenly, I could see him. He radiated a compassion and understanding I had never known, yet there was no doubt I was in the presence of Jesus. He didn't speak with words. Instead, his gaze met mine, and in that instant, I felt seen, not just for who I was in this life, but for every hope, every heartbreak, every secret I had ever held. His eyes held infinite patience, a sorrow for every pain I'd carried, and a joy for every kindness I'd given, even the ones I thought went unnoticed. I fell to my knees, not from fear, but from a wave of humility and awe. It was as if he embraced me with pure light, reassuring me that I was not alone, that love was stronger than any suffering. He reached out his hand, and when I took it, I was filled with visions, memories from my life, moments of pain and moments of beauty, woven together into a tapestry I never realized was so precious. He spoke to my heart. You are loved beyond measure. Nothing is wasted. Every tear, every joy, every lesson matters in the eyes of eternity. As I stood in his presence, I realized that I was being prepared for something more. There was a message, a vision that needed to be seen, a warning, a hope, a calling that would change everything. Have you ever felt a connection to something greater, a moment that made you believe in miracles or in the power of love to transform? Please write about it in the comments, even if it feels small. Your story could open someone else's heart to hope. As I stood in the radiance of that love, the light around me began to shift. It grew dimmer, not cold but serious, like the air before a storm. Jesus, or the presence beside me, gently guided me to look deeper. Suddenly, it was as if I was outside of time, witnessing something that was both future and present. I saw the world, our beautiful, fragile earth, covered by a darkness so thick it swallowed even the bravest lights. the sun disappeared behind a wall of shadows. Streets were empty, cities silent, and people huddled together in fear and confusion. For 3 days, night reigned. No stars, no moon, only a suffocating darkness that pressed against windows and hearts. I heard cries and prayers echoing through the silence, people searching for hope, for meaning, for safety. Yet, within some homes, I saw flickers of light, candles burning, families gathered in prayer, their faith a fragile but unbreakable shield. In those homes, I felt warmth, unity, and a deep sense of trust. They weren't spared from the darkness, but they were not alone. The message was clear. This darkness wasn't just about the absence of light, but the testing of hearts. Would people turn against each other, or reach out in love? Would fear rule, or would faith ignite small miracles? I was shown that the world would change, that after the darkness, nothing would be the same, but hope would survive. Those who held on to love, kindness, and faith would be a beacon for others when the light returned. As the vision faded, I understood. This was not a punishment, but a warning and an invitation, an urgent call to awaken, to prepare, not just with supplies, but with open hearts and unwavering trust. How do you feel when you hear about prophecies like this? Does it fill you with fear, curiosity, or a sense of purpose? Please share your feelings or any dreams and visions you've had in the comments. Let's talk about what this message means for you and for our world. In that holy presence, with the vision still vivid in my mind, I felt the urgency of the message deepen. The voice, gentle yet unmistakable, spoke directly to my soul. Tell them, they must prepare, not just for the darkness, but for the awakening that follows. There will be fear, but there can also be faith. The choices people make in the darkness will shape the new dawn. It wasn't about hoarding food or barricading doors, though I saw some families lighting candles and praying, keeping faith alive in their homes. The real preparation was inside. Forgiving old wounds, reaching out to loved ones, choosing compassion over anger, and hope over despair. I understood that even the smallest act of kindness could be like a spark, lighting someone else's candle in the deepest night. I was shown images, neighbors checking on each other, strangers sharing what little they had, children comforting the elderly. But I also saw the opposite, hearts hardened by fear, people turning inward, suspicion and loneliness spreading like a silent plague. The warning was not meant to scare, but to wake us up. Do not be afraid, the presence reminded me. You are never truly alone, even in the darkest hour. Stay close to one another. Pray, love, forgive, and trust that light will return. When I realized the importance of this message, my own fears melted into determination. I wanted to shout it to the world. The real preparation is in the heart. What would you do if you knew 3 days of darkness were coming? Would you reach out to someone, mend a broken relationship, or forgive yourself for past regrets? Write in the comments what you feel called to do, or share how you would prepare emotionally and spiritually. Your intentions and insights could inspire someone else to choose hope over fear. The vision faded as gently as it had come, replaced by an overwhelming feeling of longing, as if I was being called back from a place I didn't want to leave. I felt myself pulled downward, away from the warmth and light, back into heaviness and cold. Suddenly, pain surged through me. I heard distant voices, urgent, desperate, unfamiliar, calling my name, begging me to hold on. Opening my eyes was like waking from a dream that had shown me a truth more real than anything I had ever known. Every breath was a struggle, my body battered and broken, tethered to machines and hospital beds. I had survived, but nothing felt the same. I was haunted by what I had seen, driven by a new sense of urgency and responsibility. Recovery was slow and filled with setbacks. There were nights I wept alone, terrified that no one would believe what I had experienced, or that I would never find the right words to share it. But even in my darkest moments, a quiet voice echoed inside me. You have a purpose. You have seen what others need to know. Speak, even if your voice shakes. My family tried to understand, but how could I describe something so beyond words? I began to write, to record my memories, to speak with anyone who would listen, even if all I had was a whisper of hope. My mission became clear. I had to share the message I was given, to warn and encourage, to be a spark of faith and love in a world that desperately needs both. Have you ever felt called to something bigger after a life-changing experience? Are you struggling to share your own story or truth with the world? Please write in the comments how you found the strength to keep going, or share what's holding you back. Your courage could inspire others to step into their purpose too. If you've made it this far, thank you for walking with me through the darkness and into the light. Telling my story is not easy, but I believe with all my heart that we are here for each other. That what we survive not just for ourselves, but so others don't feel alone in their struggles and doubts. The vision of the 3 days of darkness changed me forever. I don't know if I will ever have all the answers, but I carry a hope that goes deeper than fear. I believe that even in our darkest nights, a small act of love, a whispered prayer, or a hand reaching out can change everything. If you're feeling lost, afraid, or unsure of the future, know this: you are not alone. Your doubts don't disqualify you from hope. Your questions can be the beginning of something beautiful. The darkness, however overwhelming, is never the end of the story. Every time we share our struggles and our dreams, we help to bring a little more light into the world. So I invite you, right now, to share something in the comments. What gives you hope? What would you tell someone who is afraid of the future or who is walking through their own darkness? Is there a prayer, a memory, or a simple wish you'd like to share with everyone reading these words? Let's fill this space with light. Your story, your words, and your heart could be the miracle someone else needs today. And if this message touched you, please subscribe to the channel and share this video. Together we can spread hope in a world that needs it more than ever. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing. Thank you for being the light.